Hey friends. Okay, we are back on the Ready to Rise podcast. As you already know, it is me, Audrey Rose. I'm coming in here for a little solo episode where I'm going to talk to you about Klein is here too. Okay, she doesn't want to be left out. I don't know if you just heard her, but at this point, I think just expect the dog to, whine in the background, to bark occasionally. I'm so sorry if that takes away from, the audio, but hey, we are here. We are a team, right? I just I want to talk to you about a healing tool that I have found super helpful for myself. And I think we're just going to dive right on in just a second here. But first, I just want to remind you that this is the place where I'm sharing the healing tools that have helped me so much on my whole journey, right? Overcoming, the societal standards that were seriously keeping me stuck, thinking that I had to fit this perfect mold for everybody else, and thinking that I had to show up and look and act and dress and talk a certain way, thinking that I had to have, the perfect white picket fence and 2.2 kids and married by the age of 30 and all of that. I mean, that was a big deal. The age of 30 marriage thing, that was a really big deal for me. Even when I finally did get married at the age of 33, I remember thinking that day I literally had that thought whoa, maybe I shouldn't do this. It should have been done years ago. My God, I think I lost the time, whatever. These thoughts that come up, they impact our lives so much. These unspoken rules, the unspoken checklist, the things that come up, right? Us thinking that we have to be like the good girl and the perfect girl and fit the mold and all of that stuff. I swear, once I started my healing journey and learning how to break free from all of that and learning how to find my true self, who I really am, what lights me up, all of that, my whole life has completely changed. And that's all I want for you, right? That's why I host the retreats. That's why I have the workshops. That's why I do the master classes. That's why I wrote the 90-day workbook, blah, 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 blah. All of the things I do, it's because I want you to experience that same freedom, that same excitement, that same change. So I like to share all of the healing tools. I was so excited. I want to share all of them, all of the healing tools that I did on my whole journey, excuse the noise, that I did on my whole journey to overcome and to get to where I am now, because all of those healing tools really helped me so freaking much. And I think that now they're so ingrained as part of my life, right? Cleansing my energy field, saging myself, doing a sound bath, doing breath work, all these things are such a part of my routine now that sometimes I forget to come on here and talk about it, because the podcast has been 4 years long now, right? But that's why I started this entire podcast, was because 4 years ago, I said, dang, I've been doing so many of these workshops and classes and tools that I've taken part of, as a student, and I want everybody to know about them, to learn about them, to know what it's going to feel a little awkward, your first sound bath, and what to do and how to avoid it, and, XYZ, right? So I'm trying to bring it back to as much as I possibly can, to that feeling and to all of that, so that I can come back in here and bring all of this to you and bring my excitement for all of these tools. So we're going to get into a really good one today. I'm going to give you very specific instructions on how to clean your energy field, just the way that I do everything. And yeah, I'm going to talk to you about all of that. So let's dive in. So this, we're going to talk about Palo Santo cleansing your energy field, that kind of thing. It's a topic that's been part of ancient wisdom, right? And nowadays in this modern life, people are doing this. I mean, literally, this is becoming a very strong practice for so many people still, but it's old. I mean, it goes back thousands of years, and it's using Palo Santo or sage for energy clearing and for energy protection. So if you're new to these tools, or even if you already love them, I feel like this episode is going to be packed with the practical tips, the rituals, and the important information that or if you don't already know it, you need to know before you start to do this exercise. And if you've never done this before, I'll be walking you through how to do it. And if you have, like I said, if you really have already incorporated this into your practice, I think that this episode is going to be a really good reminder for you of certain ways to do things and certain reminders and good information, just so that we're still doing our practice and our ritual to the best extent that we can. So I'm going to start with the basics, right? Palo Santo and sage, both of them, have been used for centuries in spiritual and cultural practices around the world. Palo Santo literally means holy wood, and it's native to South America. I love the smell. Like, the scent to me is really soothing. Do be careful, please, on your overuse of this product. I might say this again later, but I just want to kind of bring this up right now. This is extremely sacred. And the deforestation practices in this area of the world, just to get these sticks to us, just to bring these little Palo Santos to us for us to burn, it's a big process, and we want to make sure that it's extremely ethically sourced and that we're not overusing it for these reasons. Same with sage, but Palo Santo's been a really big deal lately. But it's believed to clear negative energy, right? Like, it literally, we do it, we clear it with the smoke, and it brings out the negative energy. It can help us to uplift our mood, even invite in the blessings. Sage, particularly white sage, because there's many different types of sage. White sage has roots in indigenous cultures of North America. So it's usually used for smudging, which we'll kind of go through, but that's like a more ceremonial way to clear out negative energy, purify the space, cleanse it, right? You've seen the movies, if you don't already do it, but you've seen the movies where, you hold it up with a feather and we get the energy and the smoke all through. And these both, sage and Palo Santo, they're both extremely powerful tools. But the key to using them effectively is the intention behind using them. So let's talk about what we choose when we do this kind of, a ceremony or a ritual. Not all of these are created equal. And this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. I really need you to hear this. These are becoming very popular tools. You can get like a smudging kit off Amazon for like $5 with a little thing of sage and a stone, probably a fake crystal, let's be honest, for $5, and, like a little feather, whatever. I'm not saying that that's fake. I'm just saying they're becoming very popular, and they're starting to become, just trying to get them out to the masses, right? So there's been a rise of unsustainable harvesting. So please buy them ethically sourced, high quality. Look for certifications if you can. If you're buying from somebody, you can look to see that it's, certified and it truly is sustainable. It truly is coming from a naturally fallen source. And these can be hard to find, but you just want to read and research, right? You want to find the reputable sellers, and they're usually going to provide details about your sourcing. I buy in bulk. I'll try to link it below. I'll buy them in bulk from a reputable seller, and it's a little bit more expensive, but the thing is, it's so much more ethical, right? White sage is also endangered in some areas because of the over harvesting. So you want to find vendors who actually work with like the indigenous communities or people who grow their own sage, because we want to make sure we are getting them from the best places possible. And I think a couple of tips. So Palo Santo, really good Palo Santo, you're going to smell it before you even light it. You're going to have that stick in your hand. I have one right here in my drawer. I keep it, for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see. I keep it right here in my little drawer of my desk, and it just smells so good. This area of the room, you can smell it. And this one's never been lit even, but you can really smell it. It's just right here. Sage is going to be, you're going to know it's fresh when it just feels really good, right? It's just not going to have like mold or anything weird. It's not going to feel super dry and crinkly. It's just going to feel kind of just right, The wrong ones, to be honest with you, I don't know my beliefs on this yet, because I always buy just really good products. But if you buy the really cheap crap, it can, a lot of like, gurus and yogis, they believe that it interferes with the natural energy clearing properties. They believe that it doesn't work correctly, so it can really actually mess with your energy. So, go with your beliefs and what you feel. That's just advice before we kind of get started. Let's get into the ritual, because this is like the fun part, right? This is like what you see on TV, and yeah, I love it. So Before you even start, I just want you to remember that this is about energy work, okay? Energy, it's your mindset, your intention, all of that. So before you start, we're going to think about our intention, what we want. We might come up with like a little mantra. This is all work we can do beforehand. Maybe you're coming up with a mantra that's like helping you clear out a specific type of energy. Maybe you had a little argument with somebody. Maybe you're, just not feeling right. Like whatever it is, you can get pretty specific and you can literally come up with your mantra that you're going to say as you're cleansing. So, I'm getting rid of any negative energy, or I'm getting rid of any leftover energy from XYZ. I'm calling in the positive energy. I'm calling in love and light, like just kind of what works for you. And the first step to starting is, of course, you've picked your sage or your Palo Santo. Now we take that intention and we're going to light a candle. A lot of people recommend lighting these from a candle. And the reason being, and this is my practice, I always light it from a candle unless I really can't. You want to do it from the candle versus from a lighter itself is because energetically, we want that pure energy. We want to take it straight from the fire. We want to light it straight from the fire that's holding our intention, which I'll talk about in a minute, rather than lighting it from like a lighter where, it's like a chemical fire, right? So there's all these chemicals that are causing the lighter to work. So a lot of like yogis, they believe that these, really convenient lighters, it's giving you all of these chemicals and this like abrupt energy, right? And so they believe that that's kind of also interfering with the sacredness of the ritual, with the energy that's being provided. So by using a candle, you're aligning with this like steady, with this grounded energy, with this fire energy, pure fire energy. And so it's a more natural source. So to set your intention, you can think about, the intention or the mantra that you were just kind of setting. Think about what your goal is for the smudging experience and get that intention into place. You can say it out loud. You can say it in your mind as you're lighting the candle. The candle is going to be that whole starting point of where that intention is coming through. So lighting this candle and really putting your intention in there. Let it hold space for this entire process, right? And then I want you to take your tool, your Palo Santo or your sage, and hold it in your hand and taking in a really deep breath. And again, you can say it silently or out loud. But as you start to light this tool, you can say that intention, infuse that intention into your tool. You can say, I release any energy that doesn't serve me. I welcome peace and clarity into my life. I'm releasing any negative energy. I'm releasing any evil eye energy, like whatever works for you, whatever you want to say. And then this part, the actual process is a little bit more practical, a little bit more self-explanatory, but as it's lit, you very safely, I should state this, very, very safely, I want you to let that flame burn for just a little bit before it comes out. And that's to get a good, a lot of people say like to get a good burn on it. But really what you're doing is you're actually lighting that. You do want to get a good burn on it. I don't know another good way to explain it, but you want it to burn. You want it to get a good like ash, because we're going to use the smoke to really cleanse the space. So I personally let this flame burn maybe 30 seconds. It just depends. Like sometimes it does get a little big and I'm just like, okay, that's got to stop. And we want to do our best, if possible, to let that just naturally take itself out. I'm not a fan of blowing it out because I actually don't understand the entire, reason behind this. But I've learned from my husband who came from India. He's from North India, from Punjab. He's a Sikh, that's his religion is Sikhism. Anyways, he's taught me, and I still, again, like I don't understand exactly why, but we do not blow out incense or any of these types of tools. That just comes from his religion. It's just the way that the sacred practice works. It's just seen as these tools are seen as an extension of like the universe or of, maybe gods or goddesses, that kind of thing. So we don't blow on it because that would be seen as inconsiderate. That would be seen as rude. That's just like such a no-no. So we let it burn out. I kind of shake them a little bit to speed up the process. That's my thing, is I'll shake it a little, but you've got to be really careful because this is fire, right? So do not set your house on fire. Please be really, really, really safe. And yeah, don't do this, at home with small kids or something, right? Like all the disclaimers, but just do this very safely. But again, as that flame goes away, it's going to turn into like a smolder. It's not going to continue burning like with a big fire, like a candle or something. It smolders and it's like smoke, right? Still, you are going to use a bowl or something like that to catch any ash that might fall off, right? We are being careful. We are not starting fires. This is important. What I do personally is I have a big, kind of like those old salad bowls. I have like a big bowl and I have some little stones in there so that I can kind of help me turn out the fire later on, or, just so that the bowl doesn't get burned or something. I have a couple of stones. I have a nice candle in there. My intention candle is in there. And then I just keep my tools inside that bowl when I'm not using it. I'll keep little sticks of Palo Santo. I'll keep some sage bundles, whatever. But I use that bowl, and while I'm walking around the house, I will have my hand, above it with its smoldering tool, and then I'll have this bowl right underneath so it can catch anything that falls off. Usually they're, right, it's just kind of like ash, so they kind of go down and it's probably just fine. But I just like to be extra safe because we do not want any accidents. It's going to have some good smoke. And so again, this smoke is what's really clearing our space. So let me just recap because I've given so many little side notes, but they're very important, right? But step one, you choose a very good quality tool, Palo Santo or sage. Next, we take our candle and we light it with our intention. We put our intention into that candle. We're very intentional about this because it's our energy. Next, you're going to light that. I'm looking at my candle. For those of you watching on YouTube, that's what I keep looking at. But next, we, light our tool with the candle. And we're saying that intention out loud or inside, whatever it is. And then we do the whole fire thing, right? We want to let it burn, get that smolder, let it get a good burn on it, and let that, big fire kind of go out. And then we're using that smoldering tool with its smoke to then clean the space. And again, that's why I like to use that big bowl. So now comes the actual like space, like the smudging, like that whole thing. So I'm going to tell you how to do it to your house, and then I'll talk about doing it to yourself. So when you're home, the way to do this is you start at your front door. And before you start, I like to remind people, crack a couple of windows, maybe crack your door, that kind of thing, because that's how the negative energy is going to escape, right? Otherwise, where's it going to go? Crack a window, crack that door, whatever works for you. Start at the front door of your house from the inside your home, and we're going to move counterclockwise around the room. So you're moving counterclockwise around your room, your house, whatever. You want to make sure that you focus on any corners, doorways, windows, and you'll start to feel it on your own. You will definitely feel some of the places that are heavier. You're also going to know intuitively, right? Like, for example, if my husband and I argued and the argument took place on the couch, or say I had a really negative dream, then I'm going to get the bed a little bit extra, right? So as you go counterclockwise around, you're going to find the places that need a little bit more help. And you'll feel it. And so you stay there just a little bit extra long, right? You get the smoke. You can just use the stick by itself. I mean, moving it alone, will kind of move that smoke around. You can use a feather to get the smoke, whatever you want to do, but just kind of fan that smoke around that area, right? And you will feel it when it feels a little bit lighter and when it feels like it's time to move on to the next place. But continuing counterclockwise, I like to get, the archways, the doorways, that kind of thing. And then I'll move out to the outside of my home. I'll get the front doorway, that kind of area. I know a friend of mine who does like the outside of her house. I personally haven't, and she has. And I think that's such a cool idea. Like getting the outside of your house, getting the back of your house. It's kind of like putting that energy bubble up all around you and all around your home and where you're living, right? So I do think that that's so smart. Next, and again, side note, you might have to relight your candle, or hopefully not your candle, but you might have to relight your tool a couple of times. Just do it, you'll start to get that intuitive feeling, and you'll know what to do. To smudge your body. So I like to do this if I have somebody that can help me. Otherwise, you can do it on your own. Again, being very safe with anything that's lit, any fire. But I light the candle, I light the tool, using that candle, have the intention, what I want to do, for my own personal energy field. And the way that you start is you want to fan that smoke around your body, and we're going to start at the feet. This is because we're going through the chakra system. So we're going to start down low. The root chakra is like the base of our spine, right? So our feet are obviously lower than that. We want to start low, and then we want to come up through the chakra system, through that very first root chakra, all the way up to the top of our body, our crown chakra. This just goes in order of the chakras. And this is the way that you want to cleanse, right? We want to get all of that negative energy moving out, moving up, moving all the way out. Again, use a feather, use your hand, whatever feels like, and just try your best to visualize it. Visualize that negativity, visualize anything that's not serving you, literally just coming out and coming up. And again, we have the window cracked, we have the door cracked, like all of it is leaving, right? Just feel all of that letting out, getting out of your body. You can circle through. This is why it's kind of fun when you have somebody helping you, because you can really circle through around your legs. You can go all the way through. You can go all the way into all, just follow your curves with it. Follow your whole body with it. Let all of it just kind of go out. And if you feel like there's a place, just like with your home, right? You're going to feel like there's a place that needs a little bit more energy release. Go for it. Spend a little extra time, right? Maybe you have a little bit of a pain in one area, a headache in your, head, obviously. Whatever it is, just go for that area a little bit more. And when you're done, you feel like you're fully done, we leave the tool, the sage or the Palo Santo, we leave it in our fireproof dish, right? Or our sink, wherever. That's why I said, like, I just leave a bowl. I have a bowl for this at all times that I'm just using. And so I'll put my tool into that bowl. I'll just leave it alone for a while. It, goes out on its own. Something I like to do personally is not just rush back into my daily life and rush back into everything else. I like to take a minute to kind of meditate on the experience. Maybe I sit in silence. I sit at my altar usually, and I'll just call in the positivity, the happiness, the gratitude. I'll call in these positive emotions, right? I want to bring as much positivity as I can to replace everything that's just been left out of my body. To me, that's one of the most important steps. It like anchors in that whole practice. So a little Q&A. I've actually had a lot of girls asking me lately about this, and that's why I wanted to do this episode. But what if I feel like it's not working? Because you might not feel like some big, huge release or something like that. What if I feel like it's not working? Here's the thing. Some people just like to make it a part of their practice every week, make it part of their routine, maybe during major life changes. It's not something you need to do every single day. This is kind of like the big guns, right? This is kind of something a little bit stronger and bigger that we're using maybe on a weekly basis or so. There might be a major life transition, something huge might be going on where there's just constant interference with your energy field. And then, yeah, you might need to do it more often. But I think that you will know. It might not be some huge cathartic, like, whoa, like that's crazy, like, major revelation, but you are going to feel that you feel maybe a little bit lighter, or colors are a little brighter. You just feel a little bit like more at ease to just breathe, right? So I think you're going to know a little bit more of how it feels. It just might be a little bit more subtle than you thought it would be. It's all from your intuition, from the intention that you set, right? It's just feeling into that and leaning into it. And that's where the not rushing comes into play. I also want to remind you that there's so much respect that we have for all of these tools, all of these rituals, right? Like these are sacred practices in many different cultures. So I think using them mindfully, using them with a gratitude, honoring them as a sacred tool, not just like lighting it with a lighter and like blowing it out and cool, using it all the time, like really treating this as like a sacred ritual, honoring those origins of where it came from. That's going to help you create a very meaningful experience. So it's just kind of tapping into that, like knowing that what I'm doing is something that's so powerful, so ancient, so freaking cool, just having that maximum respect for it. And definitely, if you have a chance to learn this from somebody who's inside of these cultures, who is indigenous to the cultures that practice these, I mean, please like go for it, because they are going to tell you with so much passion and with so much knowledge all of the details about smudging and clearing your energy field. And I just want to say thank you for joining me today, because I think that it's so important. It's so freaking important to add as many tools as we can to our toolboxes and to really learn as many things as we can to lighten our lives, to make our lives better, right? I just want to say, shameless plug, if you found this episode helpful, please share this with a friend who might need a little energy reset. Leave a written review. That would mean the world to me. That's what helps other people find this podcast. That's what keeps it ranking as high as it is. And I appreciate you so much for that. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day, and I will see you back here next week.